Coming up in this video, I create a boss that changes state based on how much damage we inflict. So I got this comment from Momchil Balav saying, "Thank you, could you make some sort of FSM tutorial for advanced AI? That is a finite state machine." Then I got this comment from Game Over Mexico saying, "Nice, do you know how to make a AI boss? Because I just found AI normal enemies." So these are kind of the same, really. So I replied asking, "What do you want the boss to do?" Game Over Mexico says, 1. When player moves, attack. 2. If player is far from boss, attack with rocks or laser, or respawn in the room. The boss respawn random AI enemies, and increase difficulty depends on the life of the boss. Thanks. Wow, this is going to be a big one. So there is so much to do in this tutorial, and if I'm right in thinking, I don't think there is another boss AI tutorial on Construct3 on YouTube, and if there is, it's not popping up in my suggested feed. If any of you know if there is another one, let me know. If there isn't, then please do me a massive favor and give this video a thumbs up and comment and share so more people can see it effectively. But anyway, let's get on with it. Right, let's create a boss. There, just a giant red square. Bosses are big, so this boss is going to be twice as big as the player. Now we need to give him some states that he can transition between based on how well we're doing in the boss fight. So to do that, we're going to add an instance variable, and we're going to call it state. It's going to be a string. Let's call the first state normal. So this is what's going to happen under normal circumstances. When we first play the game, he will automatically default to his normal state, where he will have a set number of things that he can do. And then as we start to damage him, then we can change his state from normal to enhanced, maybe. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, let's give the boss a health bar. Okay, there it is. I've given it an origin point on the far left-hand side middle. So the health bar will decrease from right to left. And I've set the width to 100 pixels, just because that's the number I decided to do, because 100% health, 100% pixels. For the sake of maths, that's what I'm going to go with. It doesn't matter too much, but that's what I've decided to do. Now we need to give our player a way of hurting the boss, so that when he takes damage, we reduce the health bar, and then that in turn will trigger different states. So I'm going to keep it really, really simple and just say that if we touch the boss, then he will lose health. In the event sheet, I've already got these conditions set up, which is basic movement based on the A, D, and W keys for left, right, and jump. I'm going to now add player on collision with sprite. We need to rename that. Sprite 2. No, I've gone ahead of myself, as I normally do. We need to set some variables. Let's rename this though. Boss, health, boss. Click on the boss, we need to give him another instance variable. Health. $100. We're going to now link the health variable to the health meter. Add an event, system, every tick. So every frame of the game, we're going to set the boss health. We're going to set the width to boss dot health, and that's the local instance variable that we set on the boss character over here. So this is going to be as wide now as his health is in terms of a number. So that's why I set the width of the bar to 100, and then that's going to tally up with the 100 there. So now when we collide with the boss, we're going to say boss, and we're going to subtract from his health 5. So every time we hit him now, he's taking damage. But you can see, because I'm jumping through him, it's taking more damage than just one hit. So we need to trigger that once. So we're going to create a sub event, select the whole line, hit B on the keyboard, and then under system at the bottom we can say trigger once while true, subtract 5. Now he's only going to take 5. That's because we're going over the top of him as well. Yeah, that's okay, because he's going to be moving around anyway, so that's not going to matter too much. What we can also add is a screen shake every time we hit the boss, so it adds a bit more of an effect. So if we just select the boss, we can add a behavior. We need to add the scroll to behavior in order to access screen shake. So when we collide with the boss, we're going to shake. We're going to shake it. Just leave it at the default. And as you can see, it's not working. And the reason it's not working is because we need to uncheck the unbounded scrolling. So this little box over here, if you tick this, it means that the camera will follow this thing around and it will go outside the layouts. But it also means that we can create screen shake. The reason it doesn't do it with this unchecked is because it's fixed to this this set layout size here. So I think a quick fix could be just to shrink down the size of the viewport. So if I take 10% off of each of these, if I take this one down to 576 and 324, keeps my 16:9 aspect ratio, and I should be able to now uncheck that, and we should have a little bit of room. Oh, can't reach him. Yeah, a little bit of room for the screen shake. So you can see that's a slightly easier fix. Okay, now we need to make the boss a little bit harder to hit. And to do that, I'm going to give him a couple of sign behaviors. So if we go over to behaviors here, I'm going to add a new behavior. I'm going to select sign, and I'm going to add a second one, sign. And while I'm here, actually, I'm going to give him the flash behavior as well, because when we hit him, I want the screen to shake, but I also want him to flash. And you can just leave it all set to default. Just let me show you that quickly before we continue. Oh, he's in his sign behavior. There you go. We're going to play around with that sign behavior. Okay, so we've got two sign behaviors assigned to the boss. Now we've got the first one here, and we've got the second one just underneath. So the movement style for the first one is going to be horizontal, and it's going to be sign. So the period is how quickly he's going to transition through his magnitude here. So if I double that up to 8, he's going to slow right down. If I bring it back down to 4, he's going to speed up. If I put it down to 2, he's going to speed up again. So in terms of the speed I want his horizontal movement, I'm going to start with a 6, because I think he should increase in difficulty or get faster as he gets more damage. I'm going to change the magnitude to 100, and I'm pretty happy with that. And now on the other one, I'm going to change it from horizontal to vertical. I'm going to, let's have a look. Sawtooth. No. Square. No. Triangle. Yeah, that's fine. The magnitude on this one's going to be a lot less. 10. So we can bring the speed down to 2. Probably even 1. No, maybe 2. Again, he's going to get harder. If we preview them both now he's got this kind of floaty up and down, left to right movement. And what I want him to do is fire projectiles at us in his basic state. So we can uncheck the previews now. We know what that looks like. Let's just play quickly, see if we can reach him. Yeah, we can get him there. Can we get him when he's at the top of his jump? I kind of like the idea that when he's at the peak of his jump, so if we change the magnitude to 15, when he's at the peak of his jump, I don't want to be able to hit him. So I think there should be that will introduce an element of timing. Yeah, I can't get him when he's right at the top there. Okay. Now we need to give him a projectile. So I've just created a 5x5 sprite, called it enemy bullet, and this one we're going to assign a behavior. We're going to assign the bullet behavior. So now what we want to do is set a condition that every few seconds he fires off a projectile and aims it directly at wherever the player is at that time. So back in the event sheet, we're going to add an event. We're going to go system, and we're going to go every X seconds. But leave it at 1 because we're going to play around with that using the global variable. So add a global variable, and this is going to be normal. And then this is when he's in his normal state. He's going to fire a bullet every 5 seconds. Add another global variable, and this is going to be his enhanced state. And then when he's enhanced, he's going to do it every 2.5 seconds. And then we're going to add another variable, and we're going to call this critical. And this is going to be every 1 second. So he's going to go through 3 stages as we start to beat him. At first he's going to be nice and slow, nice and easy, but as we start bringing his health down, he's going to increase the amount that he shoots at us. And then when he's almost dead, he's just going to go into one last crazy flurry and just be firing bullets at us from all over the place. That might be too fast. I don't know. We'll play it and we'll see how we go. So when we go system every 1 second, now we don't need to do that. We need to say every global normal. And now we need to add another condition to that says if he's in normal state. So highlight the text, push C, and then we're going to go to boss because we have that variable, that string variable set up on him, and we're going to compare it. So if the state is equal to, and in between these brackets here, just write normal. So if the state is equal to normal, fire a bullet every normal seconds, which is every 5. Now we can copy that for the other 2 states, and then we can say if state is enhanced, fire every enhanced seconds. And then this last one is critical. And then critical. So these are the states, and again we're going to change the state of the boss based on his health. So we can do that now, so we can just leave that as it is for the moment, and we're going to add another event, and we're going to compare the boss's health. So if no, let's not compare the health. We could compare the health, but let's compare the variable on the actual boss itself. So if we say boss and we say compare variable, if we say health is less than, let's say 75, but we also want to make sure that it's higher than something else because otherwise we're going to have conflicting variables. So push C, get another condition, and we say compare the health again, but greater than, or we'll say greater or equal to 50. So if he's got at least half his health but no more than 75, then he is going to go from normal to enhanced. So we're going to go on here, we're going to say boss, and we're going to set the value of his state to enhanced, and then that's going to affect his fire rate as well. So that's great. Let's copy that block, paste it down, and now we're going to say if his health is less than 49, because remember if it's equal to 50 or higher, then we're in that state. So 49, but it's greater or higher than 25, well, let's say 15, because I don't want him firing bullets out for too long, then he's going to be in his, oh no, we've only got the 3, haven't we? So this one is going to be enhanced, I think. Yeah, get rid of the under 75. So if his health is 50 or higher, he's going to be in normal. So boss set value of state to normal. Then he goes enhanced when he drops below 50%, and then copy that down again. And then when he drops below 14, so just below 14, then he goes critical. There. So now we can change the state based on his health, and we can see that working just by setting up some generic text here. So I'm going to pop that there. I'll pop it up underneath the boss AI. And it's going to be called debug text. So every tick, we've got this every tick here, we can keep that, and we can just say debug, set the text to display boss.state. So it's just going to say whatever that is. So let's play it. So he's in normal. I can give him damage. As soon as he drops below 50, he's going to go into enhanced. One more hit. No. There he is, he's enhanced. And then when I drop him down a bit more, he's going to go critical. Come here, you boss. There he is, critical, next to no life, and then we'll set up a condition where he dies. But we need to start him shooting bullets at us now. So we've got these conditions up here. So every normal seconds, every enhanced seconds, every critical seconds, we're going to get him to spawn in a bullet and then fire that bullet towards us. So add action under every normal seconds. If state is normal, boss spawn another object, and that's going to be the bullet. And we can just leave the layer and image point at 0 because we've only got 1, and the image point of the boss is actually in the bottom left. So what I want to do is change that to the bottom middle. So this is where he's going to shoot his bullets from. So we're going to spawn a bullet, and then we're going to set the direction of that bullet. So bullet, set angle, and we're going to use a built-in expression called angle, and then in brackets we need to give it the starting position and then the finish position. So under x1 it's going to be self.x, so wherever it is, which will be at the bottom of the boss, comma self.y, and then where it's going to end up is wherever the player is. So player.x and player.y, and then it's going to set the angle to wherever we are. We can test that out now quickly. So in 5 seconds, there it is, 1, he's aiming right for us, another one, stay on this side this time, there he is, shooting at us again. Perfect, that works great. Now we can simply just copy this and drag it down and drag it down again. So now let's give him some damage and let's see if he increases his fire rate. Come on. Now he's enhanced. Now he should be shooting at us Yeah, a little bit faster, every 2.5 seconds. Let's take him down to critical. There he is, now he's critical, and now it's every second. Perfect, that's great, that works really good. Okay, now we need to set up a condition that kills the boss when his health reaches 0. So we can go back into the event sheet, and we can say add event, boss, compare instance variable health is equal or less than 0. If it's equal or less than 0, then what do we want to happen? Well, the first thing we need to do is stop this health bar. So we need to set the width to 0. Set width to 0 because we don't want it to go into the negatives. We also want to destroy the boss. So we're going to go boss, destroy. But we can't destroy him without a little particle effect. So let's create that. And then over on the left here, I've got it just set to particles. We can preview it here. That's what it looks like now, but that's rubbish. We're going to do a one shot, and it's going to be a 360 spray cone. The size is going to be 5 because that's the size of our pixels. Yeah, and that's good. You can play around with these settings if you want to. There's loads in there that you can do, but for the sake of the tutorial, that's fine for me. And then we're going to spawn that in when he dies. So we're going to say boss, spawn another object. That object is going to be particles, layer 0, image point 1. Now remember, image point 1 is the bottom where we're shooting the bullet from. So we're going to add a second one. I'm going to go here, I'm going to right click, I'm going to add a new image point, and that's defaulted to the center, which is exactly where I want it to be. Then back in the code here, we're going to spawn those particles at image point 1. But I want to do that before we destroy the boss. So I'm going to quickly whiz through. And one more hit should do it. And there he goes. Destroyed. Okay, we need to make the boss a little bit better now because in the comments there was a suggestion to make him spawn in little kind of mini enemies that chase down the player. So let's do that now. Let's create some mini enemies. Okay, there's my mini enemy. Let's give him a name. Mini enemy. These things are going to have a platform behavior because they're going to act similarly to how we act. So they're going to land on the base here and they're going to move back and forward, and if we collide with them we'll take damage, but we can kill them by jumping on their heads, maybe? I don't know. Or maybe we can't kill them, maybe we just have to avoid them. I don't know, let's get them moving anyway and we'll see where that goes. So let's create a bounding collision that triggers these things to turn around and move the other way. So double click and add a basic sprite. I'm just going to color it purple. So I've got one at each side. I'm going to call it enemy collision. So what I want to happen is I want this thing to move, but when it touches one of these, go back and move the other way. So it's just going to constantly run back and forward along the bottom of the screen here. So the first thing we need to do is give this guy an instance variable, because we need to know what direction he's facing. I'm going to give this a string. I'm just going to leave the initial direction blank, and in the event sheet we're going to set up some conditions for that. So add an event, we're going to say mini enemy, and we're going to compare the instance variable direction. If it's equal to left, then do something, and then also if it's equal to right, then also do something. So if it's equal to left, we need to create a blank sub event and say system every tick, mini enemy, simulate control left. And then we need to do the same thing if we're facing right, but we need to change that to, come on, to right. Now, if I play it, nothing's going to happen because we haven't specified what direction he needs to move. So we can do that by simply changing the initial value here to left. And now when we start the game, he's just going to go left, and he's going to go really fast. So let's change his speed to 100. So now he's going left. Now we need to set the condition that when he bumps into one of these things, he changes direction. So add an event, and we're going to say mini enemy on collision with another object, and that object is going to be the enemy collision. Once we collide with it, we need to then just check to see which direction we're facing. So we can do that in a sub event, and we can say mini enemy compare instance variable. If we're facing left, then what we want to do is mini enemy set the value of our direction to right, and then we can add an else statement, and then we can say set left. And what that basically says is when we touch one of these things, do a little check and see which way we're facing. If we're facing left, turn right, and if we're facing, so else, if we're facing right, then turn left. So effectively what that will do, if we play it, he's just going to bounce off the sides of those indefinitely. And that works fine. The only thing we need to do is get this and make it initially visible false, because we don't want to see that. Make that initially visible false. So now he moves left and right. However, we don't want him to just start on the level. We want to spawn him in. So drag him outside the box there, so he'll just, you won't see him. And then we can do the every normal seconds. Go back up here where we were talking about the boss spawning in the bullet. So every 5 seconds, he's going to spawn a bullet. But I think perhaps he should only start dropping enemies when he's in his enhanced state. So if state equals enhanced, we could add it in there, but then that's going to just do it at the 2.5 second mark. So we can just add another event down here, and we can say mini enemy compare instance variable, and we're going to compare, oh sorry, not the mini enemy, the boss. I'm going to say boss compare instance variable, and we're going to compare the state. If it's in enhanced, then we can then add a sub event under that, and we can say every X seconds, and let's say every 3 seconds, the boss is going to spawn the mini enemy again at layer 1, no, at layer 0 at the bottom, and then he should automatically just drop because he's already set to left. We could actually go one step further. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let me just take his damage down. There we go, he's enhanced. So now every 3 seconds, he's going to drop one of these guys. But they always move left, so what we can do is we can code in, oh it's against so many, that they drop and then their direction is set to whichever direction the player is in. So let's do that now. So go back, select the mini boss, get rid of the default from left, and then come back in. We can add an event, and we can say mini enemy on created. So as soon as he's been created, we're gonna go mini enemy, and we're gonna set the value of the direction. We're gonna say we're gonna compare. So we need to do a sub event. So we're gonna, oh, my mouse is playing up. We're gonna go B, and we're gonna compare the distance, we're going to compare where the player is in relation to the mini enemy. So we're going to say player, and we're going to compare the X, because it's just left or right. We're going to compare the X. So we're going to say the X, so if the player's X is greater than mini enemy dot X, so if he's further to the right than the mini enemy is, then we're going to do mini enemy set value of direction to right. So we're going to start him off going right, and then we're going to copy and paste it down, and we're going to say if he's less than or equal to mini enemy, we're going to set the direction left. So now there's it's a bit more intelligence there with the enemy. He's going to set it to drop on us based on where we are rather than just randomly, which is a nicer touch. There he goes, and now I'm facing this way, drop me an enemy, and now I'm facing this way, drop me an enemy, so now they come towards me. Okay, the last thing we're going to want to do now is make the boss respawn or teleport to different areas of the screen based on his state. So when he's normal, he's going to go back and forward. When he's enhanced, he's going to move faster. So we're going to go over here. Where are we? If state equals enhanced, every 3 seconds we're going to spawn in the mini enemy, but we're also going to go here and we're going to say boss, and we're going to go down to his sign and we're going to set the speed. So we're going to say set period. So this is sign 1, this is left and right, and this is up and down. So under left and right we're going to set the period. So what is the current period for that? So the period currently is 6. Let's just preview it. If I take that down to 3, he's going to go much faster. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to set the period to 3. I also want to set the second one as well, so he goes a little bit higher. So we're going to set the magnitude on sign 2. And let me just check and see what our current magnitude on sign 2 is. It's 15, so I'm going to set that to 20. So now he's going to go faster left and right, and he's going to go higher up and down, making him harder to hit. He's going to increase the frequency in which he shoots at us, and he's going to start dropping these little mini enemies. So that's going to be a difficult state to get past. But if we do successfully get past that and we take him down to critical, that's when we're going to add in the teleportation. So we're going to create another block like this, and I apologize that this is in a terrible order. You can organize this better with groups and things. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on that if you like, leave a comment. Add an event. We're going to say boss, and we're going to compare the state. So if the state is equal to critical, so if he's in his last moments of life, he could increase the rate at which he drops enemies, but I think it's just going to get too cluttered. If his state is critical, we already know he's going to shoot faster, but now what we want to do is disable the sign movements. So we're going to go into boss, and we're going to go sign set enabled, and we're going to go disable. We're also going to disable the up and down movement. We're going to go boss sign 2 set enabled to disable. So now he'll just stop and continue to shoot and things wherever he is, but we don't want that to happen. We want him to start teleporting around the room. So to do that, you could add in a random. You could kind of work out a kind of area here and say randomly spawn, but I want to be a little bit more precise, so I'm going to create some checkpoints that he can go to. I'm just going to make them black, and I'm going to call it checkpoint. I'm going to give it an instance variable. I'm going to call it a number, so checkpoint number. The initial value is 0, and I want him to either teleport here, 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 or up here. And for each of these, I'm going to just add an instance variable. So that's going to be 1, that's going to be 2, and that's going to be 3. So he's going to start teleporting to these 3 positions, and none of them are going to be visible because I don't want to see them. in the game. Oh. I just want them to be there so we can move him to whichever ones we want to. So when we hit critical state, he's going to stop moving. I want him to flash because it's going to signify something has changed. I want him to flash, and what I also want to do is I want to give him like a bit of a rage color. So I'm going to add a frame to his animation, but I want to set the animation speed to 0 because I don't want it to play, and then I want to turn him like an orange color to signify that he is dying effectively. There. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So when we go critical, we're going to go boss, and we're going to set the frame to frame 1. So he's going to go orange. He's going to stop moving. He's going to flash, but I want him to flash for 2 seconds. No, 1 second. I want him to flash, and then I want him to start teleporting. So then I want him to make some decisions. So we're going to say blank sub event, because this is all within his critical state. We're going to go system, and I'm going to say every X seconds. We're going to say every 2 seconds. We need to create a random number generator, just like we did in the previous tutorial. I'm going to keep that text there because I quite like it showing his state. So I'm going to add some new text, and this is just going to be off screen, and this is going to be RNG. I'm going to set the text to 0. We don't need to see this, or in fact, for the sake of what we're doing, let's just pop it up there. But you wouldn't show this in a game. So every 2 seconds, we're going to go to text, RNG. And we're going to set the text under the 2 seconds. We're going to go RNG, and we're going to set the text, and we're going to tell it to choose. We're going to go choose, and we're going to choose 1, 0, 1, 2, or 3. So I wanted to pick one. It's basically going to pick a number that we can then correlate to one of these checkpoints. So if it picks 0, then we're going to teleport the boss to checkpoint 0. So every 2 seconds, choose a number, and then we're going to say text. We're going to compare the text. If text is equal to 0, 0. So if the text is equal to 0, then new sub event. Compare the instance variable of the checkpoint. So if the checkpoint variable is equal to 0, then we're going to say boss set position to that checkpoint's X and to that checkpoint's Y. It doesn't work. Let's fix it. So we've set animation frame to 1. Let's take off the flash. Let's go back and set that to 0. There we go. He's set himself at position 1 or position 0, and he's just firing at us. But I've managed to kill him over there, which he's set himself there. So let's just add in the other 3 numbers. I think what was happening was he was getting stuck in that flash off, the flash off state, but it doesn't matter. Let's change that now to 1. Let's change that to 2. Let's change that to 3. I'm going to whiz through. Again, I'll skip it to the bit that we need to see. Now he's set himself. to 1. Random number generator should change him. 2. Okay, he's not moving. Why am I jumping around? 0, so he's not moving to his corresponding checkpoints. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to give the boss a new instance variable, and I'm going to call this teleport. It's going to be a number, and I'm going to, every 2 seconds when he's in critical, instead of making the text set that, I'm basically going to change the boss's teleport number to choose 0, 1, 2 or 3. So it's going to pick a number to teleport, and then I'm going to take these out a minute. I'm going to add it doesn't need to be a sub event because this is going to happen irrespective. I'm just going to compare it. So I'm going to compare the boss's teleport. Oh, it does need to be in critical though. So we'll click on critical, we'll hit sub event, and we'll say boss compare instance variable of teleport. If it's equal to 0, if it's equal to 1, 2 or 3, then we can basically move him around. So every 2 seconds choose a number, but every 2 seconds I want him to disappear, so I want to set the visibility of the boss to invisible, and I don't want to be able to hurt him when he's invisible. So if we go back up here, on collision with boss, we can add a condition to this by pushing C, and we can say boss is visible. So we can say on collision with the boss, only if he's visible do we do that. So when he disappears, he becomes basically untouchable or invincible for a short period of time. So we're going to set him invincible every 2 seconds, and then I want to do a wait, a system wait 0.5 seconds, and then we can do these things here. If it's in fact every 2 seconds, yeah, let's leave it. I may play around with that. If that number then every 2 seconds, in fact let's make that every 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, if the number comes up at 0, I want to teleport him before he becomes visible again. So I want to set his position checkpoint.x and checkpoint.y. So if it's coming back as 0, I want him to set the position to checkpoint X and checkpoint Y, but because we've got 4 of them, I need to add a condition in here. So if we push C and we go into checkpoint, I only want that to happen if the checkpoint number is also 0. So if it equals 0 and the checkpoint number is 0, he's going to teleport to that checkpoint. Checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2, and checkpoint 3, and then I can just drag it down, same exact line, and that should sort that problem out. So every 3 seconds he's going to move, but we need to make him visible again every time he moves. So after he's moved, we can then set him visible. So every 3 seconds he's going to turn invisible. He's going to teleport to one of these. In fact, I'm going to take that out and see what that looks like. He's going to turn invisible. He's going to select one of these. I think I might put the wait back in here. Wait 0.1 second, nice and quick, before he turns visible again. Otherwise, I think it might be just too instantaneous. Let's try it. There he goes. Now he's teleporting. So he's flickering just there. Is that because, okay, was the random number generator just picking the same number over and over again? You can see if he flickers. I think that's because the random number generator is selecting that number. Okay, now I can hit him there. So it works, but it could do with a little tweaking. What I want to do is I want to get that text back. Where did I put that text? Random number generator text. Oh, it's up there. I've got two now. Get it back. Bring it back over there. Set the text just to nothing. I just want to set it every. I want to set it every tick. So I've got one up here. Yeah. Where's my every tick? Every tick. Here you go. Set random number generator text. I'm going to set the text on this one, and I'm going to set it to the boss variable. So the boss dot. What did I call it? Teleport. So the boss dot teleport. So it's always going to show what number that is. Now, I want to come down here because I don't want it to pick the same number twice in a row because it just looks weird. So every three seconds I want it to set teleport to choose 0, 1, 2, 3. Before I do that, I want to just polish up what it looks like when he teleports. So I want him to flash again, I think. Just for 1 second before he turns invisible, but because he's going to flash for a second, I need the system to wait for that to happen. So we're going to do a 1 second wait, then turn him invisible, then choose a number, flash him, choose a number, turn him invisible, and then move him, and then make him visible again when he respawns. But I've still got that issue where the random number generator can pick the same number 2 times in a row, so I need to fix that. Okay, the way I'm going to fix that is with another variable. I'm going to put it on the boss, and this one is going to be called current teleport, and it's a number. Okay, I've gone back to the point when we hit critical. So we hit critical, we set the current teleport position to 0. Sub event. I'm going to do a system every 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, I want to reset where am I? I want to reset the value of teleport to choose 0, 1, 2, or 3. Let's do a sub event under the 3 seconds, and we're going to compare it. And we're going to say boss compare instance variable. So if teleport is not equal to to boss dot current teleport, because we're going to default him to 0. So when we do this every 3 seconds, if it's not 0, we're going to move him to that position. We're going to set him to the checkpoint X and checkpoint Y. And the condition will be the checkpoint instance variable is equal to the boss dot teleport. So if the number of the checkpoint is equal to the boss's teleport number, which it will be because there's that many in the screen, as long as they're not the same one, it's going to take him to that checkpoint. Let's see. So he's just said he's just going back and forth between 1 and 2. I think that's because the random number generator, there we go, 3. And that was it. It's as simple as that. I'm really sorry for going around the houses with all those other lines of unnecessary coding. I think I was just having a moment. But yeah, it was just as simple as adding those in. We could add the flashback in, but I'm not going to jinx myself. I'm just going to leave it there. Is he still dropping these little red guys? Or that's not part of the critical? No, that's only an enhanced. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. That's my boss AI tutorial. Let me just see if I can kill him. There we go. Now's our chance. Dead. And we successfully beat the boss. Thanks for watching. That was a meaty one. I might even have to change the name of this series to Less Easy Game Mechanics because of that. So thank you for the comments, guys. I hope you found it useful, or at least found some, or got some idea on how you could implement some of these things into your own game with your own bosses. As always, if you've got a suggestion, then leave it in the comments below. And if I can, I will give it a go and try and make it work using Construct3. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like if you want me to continue making these tutorial series, and I'll do my best to keep up with the demand. Thanks, bye bye.